Good morning, fellow zombies. How was your sleep? How's our emotional stability doing this morning? Are we alive yet? Are we awake yet? Are we waiting for our coffee to come? It is 7:22 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. It is April the 4th, 2023. This is the Weaver John C. Roseman, California, the diary of the griever named John Weaver, which would be me. Okay, news. No, I'm not going to be starting off with that one. I'm just going to be starting off with the other one here. Tron's Light Cycle at Disney World is coming up with its first official opening. They already had a soft opening. They wanted to get some test cases on it. My assumption is that damn thing's a backbreaker. People with bad backs should not go on the ride unless, of course, you're courting death, maybe. But if they've got it where you're sitting down, people with bad backs should not go on a damn ride, period. That includes me. I mean, I like the idea. I mean, I like the music of it. I mean, I like the idea of the theme about getting killed on a damn thing. But I'm not about to. Secondly, am I going to be flipping over between these two? All right. And I'm sending this copy over to a joker anyway, so I'm going to make sure he gets this one. Two major topics. I can flip a coin on this one if I actually had a coin. Hang on, I got a coin. You know, my channel only deals with the dealing, grieving, and mourning and observations of what I've been going through in life, right? Okay, just want to let you know. Because everything else I've been doing these days, trying to deal, trying to survive, and some days I can feel good, and other days I feel like a lousy piece of shit. Alright. Heads, that guy, tails, the other guy. That wasn't an actual flip. Okay, that was. Alright. Gas bag last. Mr. Pac-Man, sir. Got onto his joke when I saw his actual gotcha video and his explanation of what the hell happened. He was telling people, most of his viewers and followers, that he was gleaming the information off of. Caught his ha 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 ha, April Fools, it's April Fools. But the rest of us, small percentage like me, actually took it for an actual thing. And yes, we reacted that way. And yes, I did videos, and I'm not backing them up. I'm not pulling them out. Because I want them on record. I want them on record of what the hell this guy was going to do. And what the hell kind of insanity he was throwing on his people left and right because he wanted a frickin' joke out of the damn thing. And I hate to tell this gentleman here, if I was going to be using some extra strong language on this guy, I'd be tearing his ass apart left and right on this one. Oh, I'd be tearing his ass apart left and right on this one. I would say, and I had said to Mr. Pac-Man, if you're going to be doing a video show, you could do it with a laptop like I do. I got no studio expenses. When I heard in this joke that he was pushing on people that, oh, I lost my studio, I can't even flush my toilets. It should have been dawning on me that this guy was pulling a fast one on us, but I took it as real. I don't have time, and I don't have the luxury, and I don't have the patience for April Fool's jokes. Simply put, I lost my sense of humor a long time ago for that kind of bullshit. So yeah, I got pissed, and I got tisty, and I got pissy and pissy and pissy and pithy about it. I'm not pulling my videos on this one. But I am going to tell him, yeah, you pissed off a lot of people. But there's a greater number of people out there who laughed at your joke because they got a sense of humor. I didn't. Because the thing is, I gave a shit. I cared. I didn't take it lightheartedly. I took it seriously. You're going to yank someone like that off the air? Damn right. You have a better reason for that. And why? But he kept posting other things that didn't match up with the dates. So I'm thinking, what the hell is this guy's major malfunction? If he's off, he's not doing YouTube. Why the hell is he doing those damn postings? And if he was going to be doing this as a joke, I'm thinking, okay, challenge the guy. So I challenged the guy. It wasn't because of my challenge. It was because of a lot of other people who he owed an explanation to. So I waited for it, and now I got it. He was pulling a fast one on us all. Okay, you got us. Ha ha. Satisfied? Happy? Asshole. No, I wanted to call him schmuck. Ah, the coffee pot is ringing. Oh, hearing it from MSNBC. Okay, so we switched from Mr. Pac-Man to MSNBC and their observations of what's going on today. I gotta get these damn things clean. Suzanne Craig from the New York Times talking in with a panel with the MSNBC group. Should have been Morning Joe. It's not Morning Joe. I missed those guys. I'm putting this down. Yeah. So while they're going to be chit-chatting like crazy of what they're expecting to see and what not to see at this point over here, I'm still going to be addressing this to Mr. David Pac-Man, sir. Kindly be giving me attention, sir. I be having observations for you, lad. Arr. Okay, enough with that one. Okay, so here we go. David, you look like you're near your 40s. You're not quite my age, so you probably wouldn't even remember this damn show. You don't look like you're a geek, but you probably would be a geek, not a nerd. I say that with an observation, because apparently you don't show the tendencies of being such a science fiction nerd. And if you are, this one's addressed to you. And if you're not a nerd, well, that's you, not me. Well, I'm a total nerd, okay? So the thing is, there was this Buck Rogers TV show back in the late 70s. Gil Gerard and Aaron Gray played the title characters. Tim O'Connor as well. And in this show, Earth was fighting for its survival with a bunch of aliens out there trying to get along with them. And some of them are good, and the others are really rotten bad guys. And this one rotten bad guy was played by Jack Palance. In charge on a planet, and this particular planet had a charismatic. He would control people by having his hands glow. And he would look at his followers. And they would shout his name, Khalil, Khalil, Khalil. There'd be an orange glow to his hands. And he would kill a person with that orange glow. And revel in it. And everybody would be screaming his name, Khalil, Khalil. He's like, oh my God. Follow me. I will teach you. I'm Khalil. Khalil. We're living in the 21st century at this point. This was like a science fiction show that came out in the 20th century. And we're dealing with the charismatics at this time, especially with the Trump family. They're not having glowing hands. They're not going to be killing people with their glowing hands. And the reason why Khalil was killing people with their hands is he was feeding off the fear and panic and the will of the people. And he was sucking it all in, and he was mesmerizing, supposedly. And we're dealing with the same damn shit when it comes down for Trump and his bullshit. Why do people listen to such bullshit? Because they are weak-minded. I'm not saying political parties, I'm saying weak-minded. They expect somebody else to do the shit for them. They were led to believe that this one guy was going to be their saving grace. And look what happened. This morning he goes in for a minor offense. A major offense he did a couple of years back trying to keep his power and cause death and destruction. Literally. Either by directly or indirectly. Doesn't matter. And the followers are still there listening to him, and his family is still trying to bullshit their way and brainwash everybody else. And the politicians who are following this damn charismatic are still doing the same damn thing. They're trying to get as much as they can from everybody else, one way or another. So now outside the Trump Tower in New York City, the schmuck is out there. He's getting himself ready. He's going to make his screen debut. He's going to wave his hands. He wants pictures. He wants to milk the moment for as much as he can. And while the news personalities are talking about it left and right, I know people like you are watching it. And people like me are watching it. Except for you, Mr. Pac-Man, you're doing it because you want to tell people what the hell is going on. I'm telling about observations I'm seeing right now on my computer screen. I don't have a working television. I have a working computer screen that does the streaming. That's about it. So as I'm saying, this thing is a delayed reaction. I'm saying there's a lot of people built up outside, and there's a few cop units, and not to mention patrol on the foot, on the beat, are trying to keep some of the people back, but keeping their eyes open for stuff. Some of the news reporters, actually there's a lot of reporters outside, more than what the audience is out there in New York. But what's fascinating right now is they're not showing what New York looks like. Actually, the courthouse in Brooklyn. They show what the tower looks like. God, is it an ugly building. I hate to say it, but it's an ugly building. And this is what people was raised in. You're lucky New York doesn't have that much earthquakes out there. Otherwise, I'd be seeing these buildings clapping down because of earthquake codes. A lack of it, anyway. Actually, okay, Manhattan. How about that? Manhattan, not Brooklyn. I was mistaken in my own observations, in my own reporting, of the courts being out in Manhattan, not Brooklyn. It would have been nice if it would have been Brooklyn. Nice change of events. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Stuff that hadn't been washed out yet. Anyway, I'm seeing the charismatic at work. And what it is Khalil. All the Trump rallies that we've had in the past, God knows how many, several years, I guess. They're doing the Trump, and we're seeing that happening these days. You're seeing the people going, Trump. To me, it's equivalent to Khalil. And this is what we're facing. This absolute devotion, and I do not understand this. I do not understand why people are that weak-minded and that crazy. I'll say it again, crazy. To put an absolute devotion in an orange gas bag who's hell-bent on screwing us over one way or another. Just to get his way, get his will, and laugh at people left and right over this stuff. I cannot understand this. Only because these people are too damn weak-minded. They are. I didn't say liberal. I didn't say I didn't say Democratic. I didn't say concerning about the political parties. I'm saying weak-minded. It was one thing back in the ancient days, and this is Easter week, by the way. This is Easter week. And in Easter week, Palm Sunday was the announcement that if you are a believer and understand the faith and maybe a bit of a historian buff, okay, that a simple person rides a donkey along with other followers with him into town. A donkey. These days it's like, huh? Well, okay. It's like putting yourself in a damn VW, an ancient VW bug, and driving into town. Not an electric Tesla vehicle. Or maybe even riding a bike into town. He wasn't seeking fame, but he was trying to spread the message about what God's will was in his faith. For some of those who are actually out of the faith, this week represents something for us. It already starts off with, well, it's coming up to the point tomorrow, Wednesday the 5th, April 2023. An anniversary of Passover, of Seder, of when the Israelites got their ass out of Egypt and struggled with a long life of strife in the Middle East until they've actually found a place to settle. But it had to start off with a massive problem in Egypt by getting out of Pharaoh's reach. And there had to be some tragedy happening before that would happen. For right now, we celebrate in remembrance of the Passover, where death had passed over a lot of houses of Israel, and yet gave the Egyptians a hell of a lot of grief. I don't know, but I'll believe it because I'm of the faith of not Judaism, but of Christian. But I will celebrate it because it is the ancestry and lineage and legacy. Lineage and legacy. So, this is week of Passover. We would celebrate a Messiah coming through, a teacher, a rabbi of sorts, to give us lessons and show us God's mercy and show us God's power. A long time ago, back in the ancient days. And people would look at it as miraculous. But he wasn't out there looking to control people. That wasn't the plan, that wasn't the job. Bump it up to the 21st century, and we got the psychological crap happening, only on the reverse. This guy wants and craves and desires and needs it. Sociopathic megalomania, whatever kind of psychological terminology you can use for this nut job, this grifter who's conned millions of people out of their money, out of their faith. And at one time he claimed that he was holy. He was one of God's appointed. The indications that he kept telling people left and right of who and what he was supposed to be. And somewhere in the holy text for us to believe and read, this guy is using that against people left and right. To the point where we have something called Christian nation. You politicize God's belief or belief in God. You politicize a belief in Jesus Christ. There were no political parties back in the ancient times. There was none of that. There were no political parties back then. Either you were Roman or you weren't Roman. In order for you to define yourself as Roman, you had to have been born in Rome to be a true Roman. Otherwise, you're just there in the empire. You're subjects, but like third party. You're just useful to a point. We welcome you into our empire, and if you're not welcome, if you don't welcome us back and love us and worship our Caesar, we're going to kill you. We'll take this nice shiny sword here, or rusted piece of shit, and turn you into sushi. Or worse, make a spectacle and throw you into the pits of the lion and let the lions have had fun with you. And then we'll laugh and scream in joy and pithy because we're seeing somebody who's dying. And we'll laugh sarcastically. And we'll laugh maniacally. And we'll laugh, period. I'm seeing that shit happening these days. Not putting it into the lion pits, into the verbal lion pits left and right. But these followers are going crazy. When you have that many lunatics going into a Capitol building, smashing as they go, and being involved in killing. Doesn't matter who started it, doesn't matter. It was bloodshed. I'm sorry. No guy is worth it that much. For that much pain and suffering and then deniability. Christ wasn't like that. The problem is, there had been people who didn't follow Christ. Didn't think about Christ being all that holy and thought he was a con man himself. So the Pharisees set up Judas. Bribed him with 30 pieces of silver. Could have been a lot more than that. Could have been a lot more than that. How about the whole frickin' vault? For one little identification on the guy. But no, they were chintzy back then. They could have said, I got more silver. We need a confirmation, otherwise you're no useful to us. Do this, and we'll reward you. Don't do this, and we'll probably give you to the Romans and let them have fun with you. We want to find out where the hell and who the hell this Christ is, and you identify him to the Romans, and you give him to us. Probably gave him the third degree or fourth degree on that one. And Judas probably had no choice but to say yes. Or did he say it willingly enough? Did he say it willingly enough where I'm saying, yes, I'll take your 30 pieces of silver? No, because we always looked at the character of Judas as, I want to do the right thing. I'm not quite sure if this is the right thing. But the money is so good. That night in Gethsemane, where Christ was praying to God and trying to get his affairs in order. And he doesn't want to go through this. He's afraid. But he's mortal. I know part of him is still part of God, but the rest of him is still mortal, dealing with mortality. And he's afraid. But he also sees some of his supporters who are going to be joining him in prayer who are also mortal. Sleep. Very needed. And here's the thing. He is approached by Judas, and Judas kisses him on the cheek. To identify him. Like seeing the people know, actually the followers of Christ. The disciples are looking at Roman soldiers around him, surrounded, arrested. Well, they get held a little bit, but Christ is the one that they wanted. And thus we know about the Monday, Thursday. We know about the Last Supper. In the Last Supper, before Christ got sold out to Judas and to the Roman Empire, he was doing this on the Passover, a last meal of bread and wine. For us Christians, whatever denomination or sect that we have regarding it, it's important for us to keep remembering these things. This is why we have our communion Sundays. That for what we eat and drink, we remember of Him. The bread is the body, and the wine represented His blood. They had no idea that this was the Last Supper, or that Judas would betray them. But he did. So now we're coming to the Good Friday situation coming up. Now the calendar we're dealing with the Gregorian calendar. We're dealing with the Gregorian calendar, and there had been so many date changes left and right throughout the centuries that we don't know exactly what day or date the thing happened. But we have an established thing going on because of the Gregorian calendar change that happened in the Dark Ages that we're still living with in these days. And it was due to a Roman Empire. But that's all right, because it gives us an established pattern of what to believe, what to worship, and how to worship. We never had a set date or time when Christmas happened, but we do know, and we hoped that it was happening in December. So, according to the Gregorian calendars, we have Christmas set up, we have Easter set up for the Christian faith and believers. This week, in the 21st century, this April, starting off with Palm Sunday, which was on the, what's today's name again? I'm losing it. And Sunday, which was the 2nd, which was the day after April Fool's Day. And because of this, we have our established week. Little side notes here. For those who have gone through the school systems in the United States, you all look forward to the week off of spring break. Usually well before Christmas. Usually well before Easter, actually. Either in the later half of March to early portion of April. I remember those days a lot. And they were crazy. Crazy because we had a week off, and it was time to get chores done at home. I didn't celebrate Ash Wednesday, nor did I celebrate Palm Sunday. What I had celebrated on Easter was ham salad, potato salad, and watching the Ten Commandments. Well, we went to Easter Sunday. We went to Easter services. Not consistently, though. There was a place out in the Hollywood Hills called the Hollywood Bowl. Been through a lot of renovations over the past, 60, 70 years. 60 to 70 years. A lot longer than that. It used to be televised at one time. KTTV, Channel 11 would have it. And people who couldn't go to the Hollywood Bowl would watch it on television. I did it twice. I watched it both live, and when I couldn't get there, I watched it on television until they canceled out the services. And they pulled the plug on the KTTV. Kind of sucked. I really would like to see the Hollywood Bowl in all that glory. I'll talk about Easter Sundays a little bit later on this one. But this is the Holy Week. Well, we had to live and reflect on what Christ was going to go through. Because Friday, Good Friday, was the day that after he got his ass kicked left and right, he was sent over to King Herod, who was supposed to be in charge of the Jews. He didn't want Christ. Pontius Pilate had to be the well, he had to be the schmuck who was going to kill Christ and wash his hands. Beaten, flogged to death, or damn near death. Had to be carrying a portion of the cross all the way to the sometimes I forget some of the details a little bit. I do remember that there was an area where they actually had a couple of other people dying on the cross. One of them wanted to be remembered, and the other one was scoffing like crazy. If I'm not mistaken, they made a biblical movie about that one back in the late 50s, early 60s. Barbados. I remember it one of these here days. However, in that particular time, Christ had been killed on a cross. A few days later, as the lore goes, and the faith and believers would remember from day on, Christ rose from the dead, challenged some of the believers that they saw Christ died, but he's alive. Barely, but he's alive. And he was going to be resurrected. And he was going to be brought forth before God. And he was telling people that all things are possible. And death is well beyond. Death is not to be feared. Unless, of course, you've been through the damn process yourself. Let's see how you deal with this shit. I never had an argument with Christ on that one. I'd really have an argument with him on this one. Anyway, Easter Sunday is the day that Christ was resurrected, and we all have our things that we do to commemorate and memorialize. So I have to watch it out on this week for myself. Spiritual maintenance and stuff. How is this related to Donald Trump? Because in our day and age right now, this stuff is happening during Holy Week. And if we happen to look at Donald Trump in a Masonic viewpoint here, if we're looking at him as a Messiah, politically he's going to get himself through the political process at this point. Fingerprinted and photographed and brought before a judge to start the whole wing-ding. And a lot of people are going to be screaming and yelling his name, or predicted to be such. And they're going to be yelling and screaming at him because he's their savior. At one time he thought, I guess in certain rallies that he did in the past, convinced a lot of people that he was just as holy as Christ was. The impression that he was trying to give people left and right. Politically, this would be like the thing happening. People would think that Trump is the Messiah. He and his family can't do any wrong. I listened to the grifting. I listened to what people had said. And I'm thinking to myself, Boy, you guys are really brain dead. Off to the side of Trump Tower, they have a protest area where people are flying the Trump flags. Still waiting for him to crawl out and to do his thing. He's going to the courts and he's going to show his business to the people. And right now, the tension level is getting high, and so is the crowds outside, and the law enforcement are trying to keep people back. This isn't a good day. For other people, it is a good day, but for those Trumpers or those who believe and those who follow him, this is his world. I hate to say this, but I can't deal with this shit. I really can't because this is nuts. The White House is not even reacting to this damn crap. The White House is keeping silent on this because they need to keep silent on this one. They want to stay out of it. This is the local jurisdiction. This is state versus Fed. Here he comes. Here comes gas bag. No. They were showing the clip last night when a gas bag left his motorcade coming from the airport and entering Trump Tower. So they're all waiting for him to come out. And Marjorie Taylor Greene just popped into the picture and trying to steal the thunder. Or trying to add support to the insanity. I'll tell you, I never imagined anything like this. Should I be scared? Should I be disgusted? Should I be laughing at this damn shit? All I want to do is go back to bed and sleep this shit off. But this is history breaking right now as it is. This is a hysterical moment, I guess. That was seeing an orange gas bag about to get himself in the court system that he was trying to keep himself out of for decades. Now he's finally seeing the court. I know how it feels. I never liked it myself. Yeah, but that's another log right there. So, for right now, yeah, for right now.